Well, hello, action takers. Welcome back to the IDKWTF podcast, where here in season 3, we are really focusing on helping you create income from your interests. We are currently going through our series, which will give you the confidence to say, I have no idea what the F I'm doing, and it's okay. In today's episode, we are going to be covering the incredibly important topic that we all face when starting something new. Setbacks. Let's face it, setbacks are inevitable, and we know this, which is why it's so critical to plan for them in order to be prepared when they show their ugly heads. Once again, I'm David B., and along with my spicy-brained co-host, Teresa Merrick, we're going to discuss how people decide to make big changes in their life because they are either moving towards something pleasurable that they want or away from something painful that no longer serves them. Which one do you think motivates you more? We're also going to walk through an exercise to help you understand if you should make some changes in your life today or just stay on your current path. And of course, we're going to finish with 3 specific tips on how to plan for those setbacks and keep pushing through anytime an obstacle tries to trip you up. So, if this is a topic that wets your whistle, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we cover a ton of stuff that can help you become the best version of yourself and put a little extra income in your pocket doing the things you're already passionate about at the same time. Teresa and I are your 2 supportive partners, rooting for you to succeed and giving you helpful tips, tricks, and interviews along the way. So sit back, relax, and know you're in exactly the right place. Let's go. Have you ever started something new and didn't finish it?
You were excited. You invested time and money.
You got stuck.
I'm Teresa Merrick.
And I'm David B.
And this is the podcast with 2 ADHD entrepreneurs, and we've been there.
And worked with hundreds of people in the exact same place.
The IDKWTF I Was Doing podcast will take you away from feelings of frustration and overwhelm.
And lead you to the clarity you need to take action and get shit done.
Listen today because it's important to admit that no one really knows
what the fuck they're doing. And we are back, action takers, with another episode of the IDKWTF I Was Doing podcast. I am David B.
And I'm Teresa Merrick, and we are happy to be here with you.
We are happy.
What are we talking about today, David?
We are continuing our series with kind of dealing with that whole concept of I don't know what I'm doing and how to get through it and come out on the other side stronger and better people.
And accomplishing whatever it is that you're hoping to accomplish.
Exactly. And so last week we talked about really the 4 steps on how to just kind of get into a really honest and vulnerable place of admitting that we don't know what's going on. The final step of that one was to kind of really define where you want to go. Right. And so I think after defining where you want to go, it's really important for the next big step that we're going to be talking about today, which is preparing for any obstacles that are going to come up.
Because they will come up. Mistakes will be made. Obstacles will stop you. There will be bad days. There'll be good days, but it's like the bad days are the ones that are hard to get through. When there's good days, it's like, yeah, you're on fire. You're excited. You're training for the marathon. You're getting your web page set up. You're doing whatever it is that is like the exciting part. But then on the bad, it's like the super high exciting days make the bad days feel even like more icky. Mm-hmm. We don't want that, but we want to get you through them. So you got to know what you're up against. So yeah, David has a really cool exercise we're going to go through.
Yeah.
So
we'll do a cool exercise. A thing that I find very consistent with my clients as well is that as soon as that they really make a commitment and they tell the universe, they're like, I want this thing, then it's like the universe will test them with something else. So like I have one client who's, I want to quit my job and I'm ready to launch my coaching practice. And he's like, I am 100% all into this. And then he got a job offer for the same job with more money. Right. And it's like, he hated that job, hated it. The universe is like, are you sure? Are you sure? What if we just pay you more? And there's something like that seems to happen all of the time where it's like you're committing to this lane. And I think it's especially easy for us ADHDers where it's, okay, I really want to launch this mastermind group, but I could also launch a wine club and I could go do this and I could go do that. Right. And
I love starting stuff. I am a starter. I want to start it all. And then following through to the end has not been my strength. But I'm changing my language. We're going to be referring back to Tony Robbins a lot since David and I just did his free 5-day thing. If you guys missed it, like we did recaps, but it was super powerful. But I mean, it's in my head.
Yeah.
And because I've known myself as someone who doesn't finish things, but it's no, I got to change that because I do follow through. I just can't see it because I've labeled myself, but like I love starting stuff and I have ideas to start stuff all the time. And I'm like, ooh, I want to be a cartoonist and I want to be a jazzercise instructor every day. I'm like, that would be a fun thing to do. Squirrel.
It'll be incredibly fun to become a jazzercise instructor to me.
Oh, the thing is that one I actually think I will. I don't think I'll ever be like Courtney. Courtney's awesome. See, I know I don't want to own like a jazzercise place and run all those things, but yes, but I actually did look at it and I was like,
at the beginning too. And Courtney was on one of our past episodes as well. So
yeah. If you have any interest in jazzercise, or if you don't, but you're like, what is that? Come to a jazzercise class with me. I'm like obsessed.
So what I've found is that people have two motivations for things, right? So we either start something new because we are running away from pain or we're running towards pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the two main motivations. Typically, running away from pain is a much stronger motivator than running towards something that we want.
See, it's interesting. Is that like a statistic? Because for me, running away from pain causes my like freeze to kick in and then I don't do anything. I like hide out.
Which is your coping mechanism, right?
Right.
So you are doing what you can to get away from that pain.
Yes, that's true. I guess but it doesn't motivate me. That's all.
It does motivate you to take action. It might be inaction or a coping mechanism.
Okay. Well, yeah,
or even a numbing mechanism, right?
I was just thinking right now, I mentioned, I could be a jazzercise instructor. Like the motivation is because I love it and it's fun. But being afraid that I would get unhealthy again or something like that, I would no longer, because I'm feeling so good, I'm feeling stronger is why it's not about my weight. It's that I feel good. Mm-hmm. And it's like, but I don't know, I guess if I looked at it as, I don't want to feel like bad anymore, that wouldn't be a reason enough for me to keep doing it. Like for me, it's not motivation. So
what got you first getting into jazzercise? What got you to sign up? Was it, I want to feel great? Or was it, I'm not happy?
That's a fair question. It was a combination of both. I think I knew I was not happy because I wasn't feeling good. Like I was just like, I don't feel good in my body. I don't have a lot of energy. I know that I could feel better. And then my friend Courtney said, hey, come check this out. And it was like the universe opened a door for me and said, hey, maybe you'll like this. And so then I embraced it. But the thing is when I went the first few times, I mean, it kicked my butt because I was so out of shape. And it was like, this is hard. But like, I enjoyed doing it and it was fun. And I knew it could be a vehicle. I guess
to feeling better.
Right. I guess I see your point. So thanks for clarifying, because I get that now. Yeah, what motivated me initially was my uncomfort and not wanting to stay stuck in a body that just felt exhausted all the time. And that I didn't feel good. I wanted to feel like that was my whole goal, had nothing to do with weight or the way I looked. It was like, no, I just need to feel better. Mm-hmm. But it was still something I needed to get away from, that I wanted to get away from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we all know we should work out. We've all known we should always work out, right? But just knowing we should work out and just not wanting to feel bad anymore are two very different things. Like whenever you ask anyone, you can say, hey, what do you want? Or what do you not want? And so many more times people will tell you everything they don't want. We have a much harder time as humans picking out like, okay, here's what I want and here's what I want to go for.
That's true. That's really true. What don't you want? Most people can list that without even thinking, but a lot of people can't even answer one thing they do want.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. And I mean, people are motivated by different things. Some people are very much more like
motivated by what they want, and some people are much more motivated by what they don't want. So it's important to know where you fall on that, because that's how you keep your motivation going. You have to kind of stay focused on your drivers, right?
Right. Because if it's like, I don't want the pain of this, or I'm moving towards the pleasure of that, the happiness, the joy, whatever it is.
A lot of times too, personal development coaches will only focus on that compelling future and only focus on, well, you could have this, you could have the money, you could have the blah, blah, blah. And like me, I'm not really money motivated per se. I'm like gold check mark. I kind of want to win stuff motivated. But when they're like, oh, you want a new car and a fancy house and vacation home? I'm like, no.
No, give me a t-shirt and a checkbox thing, like 20 check boxes, and I'm in. I'm like, how can I check the boxes and win the t-shirt?
Yeah, I just want to have my name at the top of the list on everyone in this office.
Right. I want to earn the t-shirt first.
Yeah. So knowing which is important. And we all have a goal, right? That's why we're all here. That's why we're all listening. We're all working towards something, and we're either stuck or we're frustrated, or we're just looking for something that's a little bit better. And so kind of in the last episode, we picked out, where do we want to go? The quickest thing that will derail us is when we're going down a path and then we start to enter stress. Because if pain is a motivator for us to stay safe, once we start doing something new, when stress comes up, we're going to run away from that stress and that pain again, even though on the other side of it is the place that we want to be. Right?
Mm-hmm. Because the feelings are the same, even though one was like the stress and the pain of something totally different. Maybe the emotions that come up are the same emotions.
Yeah. And that's why it's easy to stay in the thing we don't want, because it's a pain that we know. It's a discomfort we know. That new discomfort is a new discomfort. And what if it's worse?
Well,
right?
And most people it's crazy the things people would rather than be unknown. Like they'd rather hear no's. If they really want something, they want to get a yes, they would rather hear the no than just wait and not know and be in limbo for a few days even. It's very hard for us to be in that uncomfortable, unknown spot.
Absolutely.
We choose the pain we know, even though we just push through or made that leap. It can make a big difference.
So the exercise to go through, right, is to really just imagine your life. So if there's something you want to change, so whether it's like you want a new job, or you want to start a side business, or you're looking to improve something in your relationship or get into a relationship, or it's a new hobby that you really want to get good at, right? So the key is to imagine in 1 year, if all the perfect things were aligned that let you do this thing every day, that let you communicate better with your partner or with your boss, or you took action looking for a new job so you could find a new job. So it's 1 year in the future. And does your life look like there? You're 1 year in the future and you're turning around and you're looking backwards, and that thing you've done is there. So you've got the new job. You're communicating with your partner. You have the new relationship. You've bought the dream home. Right? So what does your day look like there? How do you feel? And try and get it as visually vivid as you can. What does it look like when you wake up? What emotions are you experiencing as you're doing this thing you love? What do you hear? What are people saying to you? What smells are in the air? Right? And so really take all those good feelings and kind of just put that into your mind. And now go 5 years into the future. So you've been doing it even longer. The relationship is better. You're making more money. You've got more promotions, right? What does that feel like? What is your lifestyle like now? Are you the best video game player and you just beat PewDiePie or whoever's a big video game player now? What does that look like? And just really experience that and then come back to today, right? So now imagine you don't do anything. Nothing changes. So go 1 year into the future and you have the same job with the same customers, with the same problems, with the same clients.
Same house, same income, same health issues, same.
Yeah.
All the same.
It's all
You're
the
just
same.
here a year later.
Yeah. And now go 5 years into the future and you've made no changes. Nothing's different. How does that feel? What are you thinking when you wake up? Are you happy?
Well, the thing is, if you're happy with your life, it should feel okay. You should feel happy. But do you want to feel okay? Or is there something bigger that would cause you to feel even better? You just thought about it. right? When David was talking about what's it going to look like? And you had that vision of whatever it was. You ran the marathon, you had the perfect partner, you started the new business, and you were like, felt some sort of way about it that was pretty positive.
Yeah. So I think we're going to take a quick break, kind of ruminate on that for a little bit. If you can, write down like what were the positive feelings, what were the positive actions, and what were the negative feelings, the negative actions, right? And we're going to do something with that list when we come back, and we're going to see how to apply some skills to ensure that none of those negative feelings come up.
Have you ever started something new that you were really excited about and invested time or money into, but after doing it for a while, you reach a point and you just feel like, I have no idea what the F I'm doing?
There's that bubbling up of frustration because you're not quite as good as you thought you'd be, or it's nowhere near as easy as you expected. Then suddenly, a wave of guilt comes at the same time, and you don't really want to or feel like you can express this to anyone.
Having a dream you want to accomplish can be very sad and isolating. It's lonely because visionaries tend to see the world the way that it could be instead of settling for the way the world currently is, like most people do.
We believe this so deeply that we wrote a book with the exact 4 steps to help.
This guide is designed to take you out of that feeling of frustration and overwhelm and lead you into the calmness and clarity that you need to reach the life that you know in your heart you're destined to have.
If you've started a project or a goal but have stopped, gotten stuck, or are starting to feel burned out, this is 100% the book for you.
Go to IDKWTFpodcast.com today and download your digital copy with the coupon code ACTION to get it on us, because we want to join you and be your supportive friends and partners throughout your journey.
It's only free for a limited time if you use the code ACTION by going to our website, IDKWTFpodcast.com.
Check it out today and let's get unstuck together. Welcome back, everyone. Have you been thinking about your list? What would life be like? Did you make a list? If you haven't, it's really helpful, actually. For me, I like to see it in black and white. So if you're driving or something later on, take a minute and jot down, what would life look like? What will it look like if it's the same? If you choose to go with your goal or if you choose not to.
Yeah. Even if you don't have it written down because you are doing something else, even just having that feeling of accomplishing those goals or not accomplishing those goals, just that feeling that's inside is important to kind of keep in mind. Because again, you're either moving towards that positive feeling or you're moving away from that negative feeling or some combination of the two. But the key is we want to be able to keep moving towards that positive feeling even when stressful things come up. And so what you can do is consider just creating a list of all of the things that could get in the way of reaching that goal.
Yeah, what could happen that could cause a setback? Say you have a health goal. Something physical could happen. You could have an injury. You could not have enough time to do the workouts you want to do. Family could get in the way. I have 3 kids. They have a lot of needs. They have a lot of activities. They have a lot of stuff going on. You know, there's also just family time. So, okay, what could get in the way? How many times could I be interrupted? What could get in the way? Money could get in the way. Unsupportive partner could get in the way. Or even if you have a supportive partner, have you kind of like enrolled them into your cause? Have you been like, hey, get on board with me. This is the train I want to be on. Like what are those things that might get in the way? Time, money, interruptions. I mean, or do you have aging parents? What's there that might be taking away your time, energy, resources from completing your goal?
Or even personal mistakes too. So maybe you invest in the wrong thing, or you get a wrong trainer, or just something doesn't pan out the way that you thought it might, or you make a bad choice, right?
Right. Just consider, you may not think of it, but it's because obviously we don't want to think about, I chose the wrong trainer. No, I chose the best trainer. And
right.
Shit happens. Or you just maybe you got in your own way and you got in your head and that's stopping you. That's probably my biggest setback.
Yeah. And the key is not necessarily to create a never-ending list of problems that could come up so it overwhelms you into not taking action. Because there is something that I do very often as well, which is preparation and procrastination. I always want to know what could happen. And I'm always thinking about the right outcome for X results. And then I never take any action.
And if you take one step in one direction, but you could go the other direction, like my brain can follow all the rabbit holes all the way down. And then you haven't even done anything at all.
Exactly. And then we self-medicate by scrolling on TikTok for 3 hours because I don't want to think about it anymore.
Well, and that kind of jumps into like our tip number 3, which is like, how do you handle it? Our tip is really about recognizing that growth is going to only happen from your experiences, from making mistakes, from overcoming the setbacks that you have. But the big piece about that is like looking and reflecting. What do I do? How do I deal when there's a mistake, a setback, a problem, an issue that I get stuck on? Because it's going to happen. They're going to happen. And that's really the point of the second tip is, hey, you don't have to list, like David said, don't get in the weeds about like every little tiny thing. But like for me, it would be really simple to be like, okay, my time, because of my family, my kids, I'm going to be interrupted. Is it something that I can do when the kids are at school or something what can I work out for those because that's a thing that will stop me, because it does. I mean, I'm here recording at my house and my daughter's homesick today. She's old enough, so it's not like I need to be next to her. But this stuff happens. Okay, so that's an obvious one. What's another one? Maybe you need money or resources, right? So just put a couple of those big things, but then it's, okay, when that issue comes up, how do I handle it? Do I hide out and scroll on TikTok for 3 hours on a Netflix show and be like, I'm just going to watch one? 3 days later, you've binged like 5 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, do you drink? Do you smoke? Do you get busy cleaning the house when, maybe your baseboards don't really need to be cleaned?
Yeah. And that's something that's actually helped me a lot too, is I'll notice when I'm like essentially self-medicating or I'm distracting myself, and where that's not something I used to do. It would just be like, okay, I'm going to go eat because I feel like eating. But now I'm like, hey, wait, I'm stress eating.
Totally. It took me a long time, but I had to train myself to stop stress eating. I would notice I would be standing in front of my pantry and then I'm like, is there actually am I hungry? Do I need a snack? Or am I just like planning to eat because I'm upset about something? I'm mad. I'm sad. Yeah. I'm hiding out from doing the thing. I'm finding anything else. When you are doing things that you don't want to do, usually, that would be like cleaning the house for me. If I'm like, I'm cleaning the baseboards today. It's like,
why do I suddenly it's so important to weed my lawn? Like, I haven't done that in years. Well, and it's winter.
Right. The ground is frozen, but I'm trying to pick weeds. But I mean, it really is like, you've got to mentally prepare yourself. And really what it is, okay, so, and this is really like the 4th tip of this episode is, okay, here's how I normally would deal with it when I get stuck. So then just what are the things that work to get you through that? Because we all have them. Like, okay, instead of scrolling on TikTok for 5 hours, instead of trying to go pull weeds out of a frozen ground, what are you going to do instead? Because taking care of your mental health, allowing yourself space to process. I mean, if you're like stuck and you're frustrated about it, maybe sitting at your desk isn't this, maybe it's time to go take a 10-minute walk or go, have you eaten lunch today? I know I forget to eat. So what can I do to handle that? Maybe it is saying, I'm done today. I'm going to come back tomorrow, but I'm not in a good space today. So only you know those things. And I'm sure David and I will do an episode on how to better do that. What are different options? But you know there's a couple of them that will get you through and have you actually be productive.
We definitely have an episode coming up soon about like self-care and self-care tips. But for here, so instead of going too deep into how to cope with things, it's really keeping in mind, like, I have this compelling future that I want to go for. I've made that clear and I know that it's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. I know that there are going to be things that come up that are stressful. And just knowing that these things coming up that are stressful are going to come up is so much more powerful, in my opinion, than believing, if I just believe it's going to work out, if I really want it and it's meant for me, it's just going to work.
Well, it's also, there's something called a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And when you are in a fixed mindset, it's that like perfectionist, things are going to go, they're either going to work or they're not. And a growth mindset is what we're sharing with you really, is you're going to make mistakes, But guess what? The only way you get that experience you need to actually be really good at whatever it is you're aiming for when you want to hit that goal is to like make the mistakes, live through them and share.
Absolutely.
If you have no
Yeah.
experience anyway, nobody's going to want whatever service you have or offer if it's a business or something. Like, because I mean, I crocheted something for a friend, like a really cool piece for her to wear. If it was my first piece I'd ever crocheted, she would not want to wear it because I know what it looked like back when I was a kid and I learned how to do that. It doesn't matter what you want to do. You always start from square one, and square one is not experienced. It's just not.
Yeah. And so the mistakes are our friend.
Yes. Yes, they are. And well,
happy
and
little tree.
yeah, acknowledging it, right? It's just a happy little tree. And you can make it as big or as small as you want, right, Bob Ross?
Yeah.
And if you are listening to this and you don't know who Bob Ross is, go watch The Joy of Painting. Just watch one episode because I don't care if you like painting or not. Bob Ross was the man.
I feel like
It's on Hulu.
I feel like he's iconic enough that everyone knows.
I hope so. Sometimes though, people don't know. I mean, but if you don't know what we're talking about, like this happy little tree, this happy little yeah. Anyway, tangent.
Yeah.
Tangent. Anyway, the point is really though, you want to have a growth mindset and know shit's going to happen. It's going to stop you. And then pick your one go-to way that you can think of off the top that like, okay, if this happens, I'm going to give myself a 20-minute break and then I'm going to come back and be with a fresh mind. I mean, it can be super simple, but just so you have a plan of like, when these mistakes happen, I'm not going to be too hard on myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to find a way to manage it and still move forward without quitting. Because some of us, our go-tos are quitting.
Yeah.
So if it's important to you, we don't want to see you quit. We want to see you accomplish your goals.
Yeah. And I think we'll bring in some experts on who talk about coping strategies as well and kind of stress management.
We're going to have some really cool folks coming up. So stay tuned.
All right. So just to recap, this episode today is really just keep in mind that people have two motivations. We're either moving towards pleasure or away from pain. And then really think about that compelling future with what would have happened if everything was perfect and you got to exactly where you want to go, or if literally nothing changes and you're exactly in the same place in the next 5 years.
Yeah. And then after you reflect on that, make your list, what have you, be in those feelings of, yeah, this is the goal I want. This is where I want to be. This is how it would feel to be there versus if things just stayed the same, this is how I would feel to be there. And really, I want to say, don't load anything into it if it feels good or if it feels bad. If you're like, no, I'm really happy with where my life is right now, great. But I think probably if you're listening to our podcast, you probably are a little bit interested and know that there's that thing you want to do, that thing that would make you feel happier. And so consider that and know that along that journey, you're going to have mistakes and setbacks and things that happen that are going to slow you down, stop you, cause you to get stagnant or uninspired. So if you kind of have an idea of what those are and that they're going to happen, just embrace it. Stuff's going to try and stop me. The universe is going to go, are you sure you want this? They're going to throw different things at me. Only you can say if you're sure or not. But if you're sure, it's okay to have that happen. Yeah. And it's okay to be like confused or stumble. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. And tip 3, which is just recognizing that your growth only happens from experience and mistakes, setbacks are part of gaining that experience. And so just know you're going to have to do it and how you want to handle it. So you have a path to go forward.
A path to go forward. And ultimately, we are always here to help. So if you do need support or you want to talk about any of these things, you can always, our contact information is on our website at IDKWTFpodcast.com. And again, you can download a copy of this whole ebook that covers all of the steps laid out in a beautiful format for you.
Thanks again. We can't wait to see you next time on IDKWTF podcast.
Take care, everyone. And
bye.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please consider liking, subscribing, and or reviewing us on wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Also, if there's someone you know who clearly doesn't know what the fuck they're doing and would benefit from this topic, please hit that share button and send them this episode.
Let's normalize the feeling of uncertainty,
asking for help, and admitting that we don't know
what the fuck we're doing either.
Done.